This video is going to show my assassin archer build. This is a character I actually glitched to level 81, so it's a character I recently used in a series to show how to get from level 1 to the Ogma Infinium glitch. So I basically played this character from level 1 to at level 17, then glitched it or exploited it using the Ogma Infinium to level 81. So I actually got a couple of PMs off the back of a Let's Kill video that I did that showed a bit of my build, and they actually asked me if I could do a video explaining why I use which perks I use, so here we go. So it's an assassin archer, so he's doing most of his killing with bows and daggers, and the main perks are going to be sort of like sneak, archery, smithing and so forth, one-handed, that sort of thing. So I'll get into it here with the sneak tree. I only go one perk into the bottom of the sneak tree, into stealth. I take those other 4 perks and I put them into enchanting. You don't really need them in the bottom of the sneak tree. You can pretty much get away without using them, and if you do need that percentage raised in the bottom of the sneak tree, you can do it quite simply by enchanting a necklace, a ring, your boots, I think your gloves, whatever. And get sort of like one enchantment will give you nearly 50% increase there. So those perks I find to be a bit of a waste of time. I don't generally go into the bottom of the sneak tree. I take backstab for obvious reasons. I take deadly aim because 3 times sneak damage on your bows is just a great perk. I take assassin's blade to get 15 times damage with my dagger, or 30 times with the use of the Dark Brotherhood armor. I always take the noise from armor reduction rather than using the muffle spell. I take Lightfoot, but only to get to silent roll and to silence. That's quite a good perk. So your walking speed, your speed of movement doesn't affect your detection. I don't take Shadow Warrior. I find that perk a bit cheesy. The idea is not to get detected, so I don't really want to have to be crouching to stop combat. Like I said, I just find it a bit cheesy and I never take it. I never, on a assassin archer build, I don't go into light armor. I think most of the reason people go into light armor, I don't really need light armor. The idea is to not to get detected, to either be sneaking and killing with a dagger, or to be using my ranged weapon to take enemies out from a distance. So light armor is pretty much obsolete. A lot of people go into light armor, I think, to get up this side of the tree to get to Windwalker for the stamina regeneration. But again, I'd take these 4 perks that would take you to get to Windwalker and I'll put them into enchanting. You can actually do a stamina regen enchant on I think your armor or a ring, a necklace, to give you more than, or give you the 50% in stamina regen. In archery, I always take overdraw. If this was a legitimate build, and I'm actually doing this as if it was a legitimate build, I would be, say, a level 40 to 43 by the time I got to this stage of having these perks spent. So definitely on a legitimate build, by the time I was a level 40 and a bit, I would have at least 80 in archery, so I would have the 5 points in overdraw. Overdraw is sort of like the essential perk in the archery tree. I go Eagle Eye. I like the zoom for taking enemies out at range. I don't go into steady hand. I find steady hand I don't go as well when I've got to lead an enemy. So if I've got a moving enemy that I need to lead, shoot in front of, I find steady hand inhibits me. It's personal choice. I guess some people would really like it. Power shot is a great perk in the archery tree. The 50% chance of staggering does come into play quite often, and it has many occasions when I've cocked up the sneak and an archery attack. It has actually saved me, and it's also good if you run into a bear or a tiger or something like that. The stagger will give you time to reload another arrow, especially in conjunction with the use of the quick shot. I never go to bullseye, because if I want to paralyze a target, I would actually use a potion, and that way I know I've got a 100% chance of a paralyze. And a lot of times if you're playing on master, your arrow is not going to shoot someone dead in one shot. It's going to take 2 shots. You're going to have to put 2 shots on them, and if they're paralyzed and fall over, so a lot of times it's actually harder to hit that target again, so I don't go there. So I only ever go up the left side of the archery tree, 5 out of 5, as soon as I can get them into overdraw. Critical shot, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, some people might argue the point, but I think it's a total waste of 3 perks. It only takes into account extra damage on top of your base bow damage. So if you've got a Daedric bow, it's only whatever it is, 30 or 40 base damage. It's only going to give you a critical shot on top of that. It doesn't work. It's not of that much benefit that I would put 3 perks into it. I'd take those 3 perks and the perks that would go into Hunter's Discipline, which, you know, I find a waste of time. And Ranger, I personally don't like moving faster with my arrow drawn for some reason, so I don't go that way either. So I never go up the right side of the tree. I'd take the 3 points that you would put in there and those 2, and I would take them to Enchanting or alchemy. You're better off you put those 3 points into alchemy or into Enchanting. You can 3 points in Enchanting and 40 or 50 in Enchanting. You're actually going to create a piece of like an enchanted ring or enchanted boots or enchanted helmet or whatever, that's going to give you more damage than critical shot will ever give you. Or again, put it into alchemy and you're going to get a marksman potion that's going to give you far more damage. I think with no perks in alchemy and right at the start of the game, you can create a marksman potion that's going to give you 18% on top of your damage, and that's on top of everything. So that's on top of what you've got in overdraw, whereas this is not on top of what you've got in overdraw. It's only on the base bow damage, and it's really just not worth the 3 points. Take them and put them somewhere else. You don't need them. My opinion only, of course. One-handed. So again, legitimate character by the time I was, say, level 43, 40-ish, whatever. I would have at least 60 in one-handed, and I'd have 4 perks invested in armsman. I invest in armsman for the only reason that it on an assassin character, armsman and smithing are the only way to increase your dagger damage. Anything that you've got enchanted on one-handed onto, say, rings or necklaces, etc., is not going to increase your dagger damage. It will only increase maces and swords and so forth. So armsman is the only thing that will increase your dagger damage other than smithing. Your daggers, improving your daggers at smithing. So armsman again, I'd take as many perks as you want to get the damage you want out of the dagger. Dual flurry, if you're only a dagger user, is not really that good. If you're running 2 daggers, dual flurry doesn't really work that well because of the animation where you flip the dagger over in your hand before you do a dual wield attack. So it's pretty much not really worth it. And then we'll go to smithing. Smithing on a legitimate build, on this build, because it's a glitched build, I've spent only steel smithing. If it was a legitimate build and I was playing this character through, I would have gone smithing, and I would have taken elven as soon as I got the 30 in smithing. Like this character at a level 40 to 45 sort of thing, where this build would you be looking at having a build like this, I would probably have, say, 70 in smithing by now, and on a legitimate build I would have taken elven just to improve an elven bow. And that I never really go up the heavy side of the thing because I don't really use never ever craft myself Daedric weapons. The game's fairly easy as it is, and you don't really need the extra damage. I mean, at 100 smithing, with your enchanting and your alchemy raised, you're sort of pretty much looking at creating, you know, even a hunting bow at 100 alchemy, smithing and enchanting. You're creating a hunting bow that's going to do in excess of 500 in damage, and that's plenty for playing this game. So that's it. Enchanting. So pretty much all the points that I showed you over here that I don't spend. So by not going up this side of the useless side, as I call it, of the archery tree for those 5 points there, and by not going into light armor to get to Windwalker for the stamina regen, there's another 4, so there's 9, and the 4 that you'd put into the bottom of the sneak tree, I take all those points and I put them into enchanting. So on a legitimate build at a level 40, I would probably have at least 60 to 80 in enchanting by that stage, and you'd be crafting stuff yourself for stamina regen, for sneak percentage off the bottom of the sneak tree, and so forth. So they're pretty much far better spent in there. I never go up this side of the enchanting tree because I don't use fire, frost and storm enchantments. I will, as soon as I can, get myself the extra effect just for the benefit of being able to, say, put sneak and archery on a ring, or magic resist and sneak on a ring, or whatever way you want to go about it. But I pretty much take those extra perks that I would have spent over there and also into the alchemy. At the same stage, on a level 40 to 45 character, I would probably at least have 60 to 80 in alchemy, and the reason I go into alchemy and enchanting as well, by doing that I can actually craft. There's nothing much you can't craft in alchemy. I mean, you could be crafting 100% plus damage to your bows in a potion, on a marksman potion. And pretty much you can do a lot with alchemy if you really get into it, and those points I think are far better off not spent in the bottom of the sneak tree and up the right side of the archery tree, and are far better off spent in alchemy and archery, invisibility potions and the like. And you pretty much, to get full use of it, you only need to go there. If you want to use poisons, you take poisoner. It's a good perk. You can pretty much craft yourself by the time you get to 80 in enchanting and 80 in poisoning, and you've created yourself some alchemy gear. You can pretty much create poisons that are doing 300 plus damage. I think you peak out at a lingering poison that does 370 damage or something like that. So that's pretty much it. As this character went on, you'd probably look at other things to spend in. I'd say on this character I will eventually take Arcane Blacksmither and maybe Elven, just depends. But steelsmithing, I'm creating weapons that are doing quite enough damage. And that's pretty much it for the build. This particular character, once you get 100 in smithing, enchanting and alchemy, you're pretty much creating weapons that are just overpowered. The only reason I go so far into the alchemy and the enchanting is because I actually use that to make money. So with enchanting, you're picking up weapons and soul gems along the way, so you just, before you sell them, you just duck in and you enchant them. And the same with alchemy. Alchemy ingredients are everywhere in this game. Pick them up, put a few points into alchemy and use it to make money. You can pretty much, by the stage this character's at, be crafting $3,000 potions. So you pretty much take that potion to any general store, and you can basically buy what you want from the general store and then sell the potions back to them to get your money back. So that's pretty much it. That's the build I use for say a legitimate character that was level 40. That's what I'd be aiming to get myself to in the way of spending perks. And that's about it. So I'll do a couple more Let's Kill episodes with this character, and I'll explain the weapons I'm using and that in those along the way. I guess from the few PMs and stuff I've got, the Let's Kill, I need to actually, instead of just doing bland Let's Kill, I need to talk, put a bit of commentary with them. So I'll leave this here, and again, I hope this is helpful.